big brick building?
It was 4th grade before.
Okay, Grant.
You're going to put that right by him.
Grant, you know the Jefferson School down there?
Yeah.
In Springville?
That's where Lori and I lost the chain. That's where I parked.
That's where the school looked. That's the kind of school it was. They were all built.
It was a 2-story building. How many rooms were in the school then? If it's a 2-story building, because you only had like 200 people in Mapleton.
Oh, I don't know. There's about 25.
Some of them came clear from Shades Creek almost to go there.
Huh?
Joy used to come and go up there. Joy.
No, she didn't.
Didn't Joy talk about that?
And you went through the 6th grade at the elementary.
Yeah.
Then you went to the junior high?
Went to Springville to the
Junior high.
it's supposed to have been the junior high.
Where was
middle school? But
was the junior high where the Jefferson, is that where the Jefferson school is at?
No.
No, they've torn down now.
Is it where the post office is?
It was just east of the art building.
Oh.
That's where they both
And
were.
then the junior high was there and the senior high was right by it. They were connected with the underground thing. And
Did they bus you?
Yeah.
hand me that green drink, please.
Rock it up.
Yeah.
He's writing a book on this.
So when you were growing up, from your youngest days, how many kids were in the home?
6.
So Clyde and Howard,
They were gone.
they were married and doing...
Well, Clyde was up to Logan going to school, and then he got married, and Howard got married before Clyde. But whether they was married, what age I was over about 13 when he got married. I wouldn't have been over 13 when he got married. I wasn't that old. I can't remember when they were in the slip-up home in that little back bedroom. Can't remember it. So I remember him coming back, Clyde coming back from Logan or someplace and staying just a bit. But that's it.
And you grew up in the bedroom just back behind the behind the kitchen.
No, I slept in the front bedroom there in the same room that Dorothy and Marilyn, Dorothy and Verlaine.
Just off of the living room?
Yeah, north.
And your parents was the back?
Yeah.
By where the bathroom is now?
Yeah.
Behind the bathroom, yeah.
And you had indoor plumbing for your entire life?
Yeah, they had it.
Other than the outhouse?
We didn't use it.
They wouldn't let him use it.
You had an indoor toilet then?
Yeah.
But had to go outside?
Yeah.
Did that bug you, or did you just accept it?
It was life.
Did you ever use the indoor toilet?
If I was sick real bad, well, I could use it. Otherwise, if I could, I always went to the outside toilet.
Would you have been reprimanded for using the indoor?
Oh, you just didn't do it.
Why?
I guess I didn't want to wear it out.
Outside you had the cellar.
Yeah.
What would you guys bottle and put up during the warmer months for the winter? What?
Oh, hell, Mother was doing berries,
Peaches.
strawberries and raspberries, and
Peaches. A lot of peaches.
plums. Hell, we had 3 trees of plums, and we picked up every damn one of them and put them all up for preserves. Now you know why I had said it's a damn many Italian prunes.
Dorothy would make his. Was it Dorothy that made your lunch?
She made it, but she wouldn't. She complained about it.
She'd put the plums on it, you know, the preserved plums. And by the time he'd eat it, they'd be all soaked through the bread, but that's all he wanted. He didn't want any kind of sandwich.
There'd be half an inch of preserves in there, maybe three quarters of an inch of preserves. And I'd take sandwiches in a newspaper wrapped up and tied with a string and put them in the back pocket so I wouldn't have to pack them.
They probably sell them 4 times.
So,
How many horses did your dad have when you grew up? How many animals all the way around?
He had 3 work horses and a riding horse.
And how many cows?
Oh, he had about 30 head of cows and a permit.
You had to have a permit for every...
Yeah.
For,
Well, you didn't have to have one, but if you wanted to turn them off on the cars.
up on the mountain.
Yeah.
How many pigs?
Oh,
Usually 2.
two or 3 pigs. Well, he there for several years. He had 2 or 3 sows, and he'd raise pigs all summer. They always sold those.
And then how many chickens?
About 1,400.
Well, that seems like a full-time job in and of itself.
It was
Grandma
for
took
Mother.
care of them.
She took care of them. She'd take the eggs down to the poultry plant in Springville,
Bring it
and
back
she'd
to
bring
feed.
back mash. She'd bring back 5, 6 sacks of mash, 100-pound sacks, and then she'd unload them bastards herself and go fill them with bucket. Take the bucket and fill it, and go fill the feeders.
Help her be self-reliant with the chickens anyway.
Huh?
It'd be self-reliance with the chickens.
Oh, they figured the chickens kept the household. Yeah.
How frequently would you have to clean out the inside of the pen, and would that require the help of more than just her?
Well, Mother,
Yeah.
she didn't clean the pans.
She
We
did.
did.
And how frequently would that take place?
Well, we cleaned the roofs off every Saturday. And we cleaned the floor and the bedding in the summertime about once every 3 weeks.
I can't imagine the dust that would be in
There
there.
was dust, believe me.
Dirty.
Yep.
What would you do with everything you pulled out? Into the fields?
It went, no, put up in the dump plank that's up in the city hall, up the city park up there, wagon of Clyde's. We'd throw it in that. Then we'd take it down to the school section and pile it. And then we'd turn around in the fall and get out and unload it in the manure spreader and spread it out on the land.
You couldn't spread on the land while there were crops on there because you were
Sure,
going to go take
sure.
But there was always something to do. It wasn't no idle time.
And how many acres of land was your dad running?
He owned 40 acres.
But with horses, then it was a lot.
Yes, it was.
Where did all that 40 acres, where did it lay?
We're sitting on part of it now.
Yeah.
Right up to the house, up to Howard's,
From 8th South
and down here,
to Paul Jensen's?
yeah. And then he had 7 acres in school section.
And then he owned also down south of Aunt Hans?
No, that's what Clyde owned.
Clyde bought.
Yeah.
Who owned this?
He did. He owned this and the next 5. He bought the 10 acres and then he let Howard buy half of it, and then give me 5 here.
And then he had John York's land.
Yep.
And then how many acres of the school section?
Well, he had that
7.
over there too, Ned.
Well, I said he had the bull piece.
And the bull piece, is that where Raymond Roberts' home is?
Yeah.
Where the log cabin house. Why is it called the bull piece? I mean,
He bought them from old man Bull. This is the old bird piece he bought from the old bird. The Hopla place he bought from Hopla's.
You talk about Aunt Hans' house. Who was she? Well, how was she a relation, or was that just some?
She's relation.
There's always Aunt Han.
How did that work? What was the relation? And
Well, I don't know for sure.
Joe
It's
Biggs.
through Han.
No, she didn't marry Joe. She
Through
married-
Han. Bill, I don't think it was through Bill. I think it was through Han.
I do too. She was a Frost.
She was a Frost in Spanish.
Great big woman.
No, she was skinny in hell until.
Ned, I only knew her when she was fat.
That's right, you did. She weighed, all the time I was growing up, she was as thin as I am.
You're kidding me.
No.
When did she get so fat?
Well,
But all I ever knew was
after I hit
fat.
about
She was just fat, short lady.
16, 17, I guess, and she put on weight.
nice they didn't have much of anything.
They never had a pot to piss in. And she was the nicest woman. Never complained. She was happy.
Worked at John Holly's over
Just a
there.
good woman.
And her husband was lazy. Didn't do much.
Well, his health wasn't good. She said that he ruined his health when he was too young, working too hard to help support his brothers and sisters. I don't know.
Yeah, buttons on.
When you would do the hay, would your dad use all the hay for your animals, or would he sell?
Very, very rare he ever sold any hay.
How many acres would he do in hay of the 40?
Oh, he'd have anywhere up to 20 acres.
Would he rotate it, or would it always
Oh,
be in the
yeah.
school section,
He
or
rotated.
was it a better watering system than it is today?
No.
Still had.
Same. Depends on the water masters. He was always. They heard him a little better than they did me. Let's put it that way. He had a little more in his
We're a little bit
voice.
afraid of him.
The way that he talked to you sounds like it was very loud and very vocal all the time. Was he that way with everybody, or just around the house?
He was quietly spoken, but didn't take nothing to raise that voice up.
He'd go to church and everybody just thought he was the most religious, nice
People
man.
thought he was an angel. Mother said they ought to live with him.
Were you offended with the way that the double-sided
I
standard?
didn't like it.
I mean, you recognized it.
Oh yes, you betcha. You couldn't help it. Good God, when I was even 10 years old, and he was telling me how worthless. I wasn't even that old. I was 9 years old, and he's telling me how worthless I was. And then he'd turn right around and say, "If you was like Paul Jensen, why don't you be a good boy like him? He's a good boy. Be like him." Well,
All his life he was worthless, helpless,
oh,
lazy,
God.
no good kid.
Do you ever wonder what your life would have been like had he treated you with a little bit of kindness?
Yeah, I might have been a goof off. Because you'd have felt you could goof off. But
He was raised entirely different.
he wouldn't
than I was.
tolerate it.
Entirely different.
You talk about going up and playing in the canal. How frequently would you get to do that?
Get to? We did that because we wanted to.
But would he let
We-
you?
He didn't know about it.
Oh,
Where would he be when you would do this?
He's out in the field working, doing something.
And you just gambled that he couldn't find you, and
Well, we worked hard enough
Oh.
that we could leave the field, we felt, for a certain length of time. And we had to be back and work hard then the rest of the day to make up for being gone.
did he ride you for doing that?
Nope.
Oh.
Never said a word, so we put out the work. At least he must have, I don't know, maybe we didn't, but he's just good, I don't know.
Did all the girls go with you too?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a.
Oh, you betcha. We used to change clothes up there at the reservoir. I did. The girls would wear their swimming suits from dinner. They'd put on their swimming suits home there, but I put mine on up the canal. It's up there where Brunel Jensen and where them homes were back in that draw.
Mhm.
It was just up on the hill there, about a block, where we used to swim.
I mean, it probably took you a half hour to walk up, half hour to walk back.
Oh yeah, yeah.
a kid, Wendell Johnson, was up there, jumped into it and broke his neck and was paralyzed from the rest of the neck down.
I had the horse with me several times. I'd back her down into the water, back her into where it got in deep, and then dive off from her.
You've told me before that there was a feller up there that was it one of your brothers that almost drowned in there?
No, that's the reservoir where Reed damn near drowned. Reed Larsen, his dad's brother.
Your dad's brother.
Yeah.
Now, what happened there?
Well, he was up swimming, and Dad and him was up swimming, and Dad told him to stay on the northeast side of the reservoir, on the west side, northwest side or else the west, and stay in the water where it was shallow, not going over his head, and he got in over his head and panicked and threw his hands in the air, and Dad seen him and he was on the east side of the reservoir, and he swam as fast as he could on over across the reservoir and picked him up as he's going down for the third time, pulled him out, gave him artificial respiration, what they do, and he rallied, saved his life. And the best swimmer Dad said in Mapleton, seen that was with Dad and seen Reed go down, and he went down, he drowned.
Trying to save Reed?
No, he was with Dad.
Oh.
And he was going to go back over with Dad, I guess, help Dad with Reed, but he drowned right there.
Huh.
Were you a good swimmer?
No, but I could hold myself up.
How did you learn how to swim? You just figured it out, or did somebody show you?
No, you just got it after so long. We used to swim up the dam road up east of the house there in that drain ditch. It was about probably right to there on us.
What did you admire most about your dad? Or did you?
His honesty. I always admired he was an honest man. He was more than honest. He never had to go look for help. Help come looking to him. People wanted a job come around and he'd put them to work.
Did he employ many other people?
Nope. The ditch workers in the spring would come around to contract his ditch. The ditch tracks that he had to clean, he had to pay. And they'd clean so many rods of ditch for so much money. And they'd come around and he'd let him go work his tax off because he didn't have time.
And what do you miss most about your mom?
A lot.
I was going to say everything.
She used to go up and sit and talk. She couldn't walk, or she sat in that chair for about 2 years, never walked, never did anything. And he'd go up for hours and talk to her. She protected him from their dad. Protected the kids from his dad a lot.
She did. She stood in the middle.
And she wasn't a big woman.
Well, she's a good-sized woman. She
wasn't
about
heavy.
5'6". She weighed 140 pounds, say. But she was just enough flesh on her. She looked good.
And she'd cook you 3 squares a day, right?
Oh God, I'll say.
What would a typical meal, a typical breakfast, lunch, and dinner consist of?
Breakfast was always hot cereal and probably some kind of bacon or pork and warmed over potatoes and eggs.
And most of this came off your land.
It all come off the land. Every bit of it.
And then for lunch?
And for dinner, why, we had beef steak, potatoes and gravy, and then pie or cake.
And then for supper?
Well, supper was cold, so usually maybe a little cold meat of some kind for a change.
Bread and milk.
I never had much bread and milk. She had it. I didn't eat much. There's other stuff.
Your dad worked your butt off all day long. What would happen after dinner, after supper at night? What would you do?
Go to bed if you want. If you done what he wanted you to do.
I mean, you'd eat what, about 6 o'clock?
Yeah. No. We was through in the field at 6, and we had to come in and do chores.
What would the chores consist of?
Well, that depends on the time of the year. In the summertime, we'd have cows to milk, and Mother would be doing the chickens.
You'd have to take care of the horses.
Well, yeah, but there wasn't as much to do in the summer as there was in the winter.
Did everybody have their own responsibilities, or was it everybody worked until it all got done and everybody went in at the same time?
Well,
or
the girls never done anything. After the field work was done, the girls was through.
But they were good workers in the
They
field.
were good workers. Good.
What would they do after they were done? Were they just able to
They could
leisure time
They
or?
could shower if they wanted to, and go bumming, and do what they wanted to do.
Well, you did a lot of night games and things and played with the...
We didn't do a lot, Betty.
Well, I've heard you with Naoma and with
Yeah.
Dora and all of them.
Yeah, but how many times did
I
we
don't
do it?
know. I
Well,
did,
all
but I've
right.
heard you say you did it.
God freeze. You make it sound we used to play it. No. Maybe 3 times the whole damn summer
Oh, I didn't realize that.
that we would go play.
You guys met where and when?
In high school.
Oh,
He took me to the junior prom. I was in the 9th grade. He was a senior.
Had you dated throughout the year during?
Never.
That was your first date?
I wore a pink dress. I remember it so well. I've had false fingernails on. That was so cute, and they all came off in the car. We were with Paul Jensen. He was driving with his date.
yeah, Frank let him take the car.
From the prom on, were you pretty much a couple?
On, off and on. Ned had come down, and
I didn't either.
you did too, Ned.
I didn't. I took it to dance and that was it.
Ned, you are lying to me. You did too.
I come
You
down.
wanted that blocked out of your mind.
Well, what the hell would I come down for? I
To
didn't.
see me.
I didn't, Betty.
Well, who was that guy that was coming to see me?
I don't know who that was. But it wasn't me.
Yes, it was Ned Larsen.
It wasn't either. I took it to formal dance, and that was about it.
After you graduated,
Every time I ever even spoke to you, we argued like hell, or just like we're doing now.
We're not arguing.
I don't know why we even got married.
after you graduated, how long was it before you entered the service?
Well, I graduated in May, and I went in was it, it's 44, I went in, it was 44, about 9 months.
What did you do from graduation until that point? Just working on the farm?
Worked on the farm.
Okay, that's up there.
Followed the thrasher every,
And go down to see Beth, huh?
I went down to see her.
After you graduated, you're 18 years old. Was your dad any easier on you, or was he still physical with you? Or did he treat you more like a man, or...
Well,
I was scared of it.
I guess at what point did he actually start treating you like you were a man and not a child? And
he didn't even really do that when I come out of the service.
so you went into the service in what month?
February.
And you went straight to San Diego.
Yeah.
You were in San Diego for how long?
I was in boot camp 7 weeks.
How did you wind up in the service? Were you drafted?
No,
What happened?
I had deferment and I went down and took it out.
Why?
I don't know, to get away from home, I guess, or I always had it in my head I wanted to go in the Marines.
And why did you have the deferment?
Farm.
Farm. I was working on the farm, helping Dad with the farm.
And so you took out your deferment, and how did you end up in the Marines and not another branch of the military?
I volunteered for it.
So you chose to be in the Marines.
Yes.
Why didn't you choose the Army or the Navy?
I figured if I had to take a chance on things, I'd take it better on the land. And I didn't want to go to Europe. That's where the Army was all headed, because it was damn cold over there. I thought, well, I'd be better off in the Pacific because I could run.
Okay.
What are your memories of boot camp?
Like I told you, them guys didn't know how to chew your ass out. They didn't have an idea. They were stupid.
Your first day there, what happened? Do you remember? Were you scared? Were they yelling at you?
Apprehensive?
I wasn't afraid. No, but they was a hollering and yanking around, showing how tough they were with their mouths, and didn't bother me a damn bit. I'd been around too.
So in a lot of ways, was boot camp easier than being at home?
Oh, it was a lot easier. Yes.
So it was like a vacation. You go
Yes.
into boot camp.
It was a vacation. Yes. Yeah, good vacation.
Did you make any friends in boot camp that you hung on to?
No, because they sent us like my hands when we got out. Some guys went. I asked for the infantry, and goddamn, I ended up doing nothing.
What do you mean?
They didn't know where to put it. Didn't know where to put me.
So what happened to you after boot camp? Where did you go?
They sent me east of San Diego. Me and about 200 other guys to a place they called Jack's Farm, tank base,
What did you do there?
guard duty. They couldn't think of nothing else, so they had us doing guard duty.
What were you guarding?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
They'd have to
There weren't
walk.
prisoners.
No.
There was equipment.
Oh yeah, yeah. They had a tank base.
So you just patrol the grounds.
Yeah.
At night, half the night, they'd have to be there walking back and forth.
Down in along the creek there's a creek down below us. I don't know what probably was a light river, whatever it was. I don't know what it was called even. But it went quite a ways.
And you were there for how long?
We was there from boot camp. We got out at 7 weeks. We were there from probably April, March, middle of March. We was there until June, I guess. 1st of June, then we went to Pendleton, about the 1st of June. And before then, I guess we was going to Pendleton. 1st of May, I guess we started going to Pendleton.
And what did you do there?
We built the base. We built a base there. There wasn't nothing there, only just, it was a kind of a church way back in, 10, 15 miles back in. And we built that a tent city for 10,000 troops.
So what was your job while you were there? Were you a shovel man? Were you a material handler? What, all over the place? Or
No, yeah,
They had the
through,
shovel,
yeah.
man. They give them a shovel and put them to work. I was smart enough to. That's another good thing that Father taught me. He taught me to be leery. And I was damn leery. When they asked for volunteers, I never raised my hand. I just stood back in the ranks, and guys raised their hand to be shovel operators and mechanical engineers. Oh, I tell you, they'd come out with the damnedest names. And they'd send them to do different jobs. And no, they transported us. We went back and forth from San Diego up to Pendleton for a week or two, I guess, before they moved. It seemed like they
But
moved us up.
isn't Pendleton in San Diego?
No, north.
Oh,
then they moved you to where? After Pendleton?
I finally went overseas,
And where did you start there?
Hawaii.
Pearl Harbor, just outside of Pearl Harbor.
And you were in Pearl Harbor for how long?
Oh, about 2 or 3 months, I guess.
And what were your
Weren't you
tasks
there
and
longer
duties
than
there?
that?
That's when we was watching the prisoners. And we was on the Hickam Field. That's the army base. And then we went to on the north side of Pearl Harbor about a mile. They made a base for us, a camp, where we could be by ourselves as the prisoners.
And after you left Pearl Harbor, they sent you where?
Out on Johnson.
And you spent the remainder of the time there?
Yeah.
Which was how long?
9 months, a little over, I guess.
Did you ever have any problems with the prisoners?
No,
Never had to fire a shot?
no.
You ought to seen the way they drew pictures. Ned had these big scarf handkerchiefs, and there was some of them that could read it our pictures, and they even drew a picture of me. And Ned had a picture of me, and they drew it on there.
I have one of them
I-
from the trunk from years and years and years and years ago.
Oh,
How did you end up being a guard?
I figured they couldn't find another place to put us, so that's what they done with us. They took about 250 of us, 250 of us, and put us in as guards. And in the camp, they needed to place somebody to watch the damn prisoners because they had them there. And
With the other guys that were guards, were they the same ones that you were with at Pendleton or in San Diego, or no?
there might have been some of them. I wasn't around at Pendleton. I wasn't around very many of the guys. I was kind of off to myself working.
Okay.
I was told to go hide part of the day.
Were there, either during boot camp or any of your time in California or Hawaii, was there anybody from around this area that
a what? A light bulb?
you knew?
Yes.
Or
Yeah, there was one guy. He'd come back to see me. Paul Lindsay lived right over there, just before he crossed the highway. Him and his brother both were in the Marines. And they seen action. They seen plenty of it.
On Johnston Island, was it more than just the Marines there?
Yes. There was Army and Navy both.
Did you have interactions with them, or were you on separate areas?
Well, we interacted. We had to pass one another, eating a chow hall, I guess. Can't remember associating at all with any of them.
Here, let me get up here.
can you describe the food when you were in the service?
It was the shits. I was used to good food.
That says it all. No, I'll go back and get some.
What did they feed you every day?
No, you couldn't find them.
Well, for breakfast they had shit on a shingle.
Which is what?
That's what they
Well,
called
there's
it.
some kind of crap on a piece of toast that they'd put out. Then you could have a dish of some kind of cereal in these little boxes
Same thing every day?
if you wanted. Powdered milk. That was the nearest thing to milk you had.
That probably drove you crazy.
And on Fridays you had fish. What else was it? Usually Fridays I didn't even go to the chow hall. It was for dinner. It wasn't even worth walking over for.
How big was Johnston Island? How big is it?
It was 6,000 feet long and about maybe a half a mile wide at the widest. It tapered.
And there was an airstrip on it?
Yeah. That's what took up the island. There's an airstrip on the one side and an airstrip on the other side.
And you said the Navy guys would bring in fish? They go out fishing?
Yeah. Well, they take the. I didn't go, but they dumped the garbage out over the reef, and they'd pick up some of the Marines would ride out with them with the rifles, and they'd shoot fish and bring them on in, and we'd have fish at night with butter, cooked in butter, and they were pretty good.
What did you like best about being in Johnston Island?
Well, it wasn't as regulatory as your bases. It was a place that was miserable, and they made it as pleasant for you as they could.
Did communications from the States or communication of the war, was it current stuff? Was it something you kept up with?
Yeah.
World news type thing?
Well, we didn't worry. Maybe things happened a week or two, we'd hear later.
I mean, for instance,
Didn't
did
care.
you know how the Red Sox were doing, or
I never paid no attention to them and didn't pay attention to the campaigns except after they'd been on a like the Marines when they hit Tarawa or Saipan or Guam. When they hit them, why we'd hear about it about 2 weeks later. I didn't care.
did you have any dignitaries or diplomats that came out that you knew who they were?
Well, there was some Navy bigwigs come out occasionally, but that was about all. I don't think there was any come out on Johnson while I was there. That might have done, but I don't think there was.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Did you ever, get letters or anything from people while you were in the service?
I got letters from Mother regular.
How often is regular, would you say?
Oh, 2 or 3 times a week probably.
Really?
Betty wrote me. She wrote regular.
How long would it take a letter to get to you?
Up to a week.
Would they charge you postage to get it back? To
No,
ship letters
we
back?
could send them back free. I sent some back free. A lot of my letters. First ones anyway. Just write free on them and that was all you had to do.
Try that today.
Yeah, God.
How soon after the war was declared over were you sent from Johnson Island back?
Well, I was a year. You had to have so many points to get out. And I hadn't been in combat, so it took me longer to get the points.
What were the points and what did they mean? How did you get them?
Well, you get 5 points for going into one combat thing, so those guys that went in a couple, 3 combat things, they was on their way home as soon as the war ended. And guys like me and that were back behind the lines all the time, you stayed out there a lot longer. They couldn't get the men home. They had to develop something, and that's the way they done it. And that was a fair way to do it.
How many points did you have to have? Do you remember?
Oh, I can't remember.
Was there an effort with the military that when you were getting close to having your points, did they try to get you to re-enlist?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Did you ever have second thoughts of staying in longer?
Yeah, I did.
What made you come home?
I don't know. I wished in a way I'd stayed. It was an easy life.
And when you went into the military, you and Grandma were a thing because she was riding you.
Well, we
No.
weren't really steady, but he did come down to me.
So were you riding other guys while he was in the military?
I wasn't riding anybody else, but I was dating a lot of guys.
She's a renegade woman.
When he came home, I was walking up the steps at the high school. And there was a landing there, and I walked up, and there he stood. I didn't know he was home.
And what happened at your first encounter?
I don't know.
Did you hug him?
Yes.
Did you walk up and shake his hand?
I hugged him.
She shook my hand. Oh, we stood 3 feet apart.
When was the first time you kissed?
Right then, probably. And then he took me out to his house. We went out to his house. I called my mom to tell me where I was. And then, his mother was so mad at him that day. So here come his friends that had come home, that he'd gone at school here, picked him up and left me there. And he went off with them, and I was there for hours. Had never met him before, didn't know him or anything.
Didn't think a thing about it. I didn't.
So at what point did you guys become more solidified as a couple?
Well, after that, then he was there all the time.
And you dated for how long after he got home before?
He got home in May, was it? You got home just as I was graduating from high school because he took me to the graduation. And we got married that January, the next January.
And this home was just bare land at that time?
About 8 months. This out here,
Your land,
this
plot.
The house.
This had trees all on it here. It had plum trees
Oh, there
all
was
here.
Pear tree.
plum trees and a pear tree there.
Uh-huh.
2 plum trees and a pear tree, I think, and a walnut
And
tree.
a hard
And you
tree,
didn't
yeah,
build the
pear
old house.
tree.
Where'd you get it?
But no, Wisconsin.
And it was a home on another plot of land.
Yeah, down there by Elmer's place.
How much did it cost?
Not very much. We didn't have
I
any.
gave him,
How did you get here?
I think, I want to say $200 what I gave him.
And how did you get the home from there to here? I mean, you didn't have house movers.
Yeah, I had a house mover move it.
I couldn't remember.
It cost me $200 to move it.
So it cost you $400.
Yeah,
And let me tell you what happened.
Gospel's truth.
Gospel truth. My sister Leona and my mother and I, and it had tall, high ceilings in this little room here that was right there used to be, and it was our kitchen. And we spent a day papering that thing, even the ceiling, everything, and it was also clean, painted all the woodwork and everything.
that's after we're married.
So clean and nice.
When you say paper, what does that mean?
Wallpaper.
Oh,
We wallpapered it. Now, had put on those big tall ceilings and everything. It's all just beautiful, just all new curtains and everything. And we had a coal stove in there with an oven. You know, that's why he put the oven down, his shoes were ready. He put his shoes on the oven door and we went to bed. We got up the next morning. The shoes were burnt completely up and my whole walls were
Well, the
black.
shoes weren't burned up.
I
The soles was
almost
left.
killed him. Oh, I bawled and cried.
so,
And my sister and mom come out and help me use wallpaper. A wallpaper cleaner. They have wallpaper cleaner that you clean your wallpaper with. And it was hard to do that.
so when you moved in, it was just the living room and the old kitchen. And did you sleep in the kitchen?
When we moved in, I had to fix the whole damn thing up. It was just a shell, and part of the plaster was gone. I had to,
We had a kitchen and a bedroom. So.
The front room was the bedroom.
yeah.
And it was
Then
only
we
this
had-
big. It was right back to where the stairs
door.
were.
The stairs are.
Where the stairs are this way, it had the 2 rooms. Know where the thing is there.
There was a doorway right here, and then we had a little side porch on it.
All my friends
On a
had
4 by 7.
little rooms. Toilet outside and outhouse.
So you were married on what day?
The 15th of January.
And how cold was it?
Freezing cold.
You got married where?
Down at my sister's house, Leona's.
And who married you?
My bishop, who is Glenn Kitchison.
Did you have a reception or anything?
I had a shower, a ladies' shower at the church, and we invited everybody. In fact, I was looking through all the names. There were 250 people at the church. Ladies and all.
So you got done with the wedding, and you guys got in the car. What car did you own?
A 41 Shiv.
We got down to Mona, was it there?
Yeah.
Down to Mona, and the lights went out in the car. This is our honeymoon. So we stopped at this little hotel there and stayed there.
No, so we went on into Nephi without any lights.
So anyway, we stayed in this little motel. He got up the next morning, the car would not go.
You drove to Mona without lights.
Yeah.
It got out.
God, you'd freeze
It wasn't
to death if you
it wasn't
sit
the way it is now. There were very few. There weren't the cars there was. Now this is.
What was the
60,
speed limit? How fast would you drive?
there. Probably
25.
50 was the speed limit,
Oh, 50.
something like that, because that was main highway or main thoroughfare.
So then he had it hauled in. The car had to be hauled into the garage, and there was a drugstore right next to it. And I sat in the drugstore drinking Cokes while they were fixing it, and it took most of our honeymoon money to fix the damn car.
Pay for your cokes, it sounds like. When you got done fixing the car, what'd you do?
We went down to Gunnison and stayed a night in a motel. Then we went down to Richfield, which is where Clyde lived. We went around to see Clyde and Myrtle, and they wanted us to stay there that night. And we said, oh no, we don't want to stay there with him. We said, we've already got a room down in the west part of town. There's a little state motel down there. They kind of looked at each other. So after we left, we went down to see what it looked like. They were trash. It was the worst looking things you've ever seen in your life. We wouldn't have stayed there for a million years. So we drove back to Gunnison and stayed there for the night. And then the next day we got up and was going to come home, and we decided not to come home. We didn't want to come home, so we drove over to American Park or Pleasant Grove and stayed in the motel there before we come home.
And how much was gas right then, do you know?
Cheap. 15, 18 cents,
I was going to say about 20 cents.
maybe 20.
When you got home, you just started your farm from scratch pretty much, or
No, I wasn't foreman.
what did you do right off the bat?
Well, got a job on construction to start with, but
Then his dad wanted him to come back to the farm.
Well, what were you doing construction-wise? I mean, what end of the spectrum?
drive truck.
Packing asphalt, or
Oh, just driving truck, doing anything. On gravel.
local?
Yeah,
It was for Thorne's construction.
And you did that for how long?
done that for.
Till his father died.
Well, I got the pipe plant first. I quit that job. Worked at the pipe plant, didn't I?
Yeah, you did first.
Which pipe plant?
Cast iron.
Just right out here.
And what'd you do for them?
He
I
hated it there.
cleaned rings. The bells on the pipe. They had to use this here ring that they had. They fill it full of dirt and cooked it. And they'd set that in there. I don't know how they made their pipe. It was the first plant west of Mississippi that hot rolled their pipe. But it wasn't a bad job until they tarred them. They tarred the pipe. The goddamn stuff of damn near. You couldn't go out in the sun because the tar would get on had been on your face, or the fumes, and just burn it. So after about 6 or 8 months I quit. I wouldn't no more of that. So
He used to come home at, what time would you get in the night and I'd be up having
Midnight.
your meal?
midnight.
He'd go at midnight and I'd always have me a cup.
He had me a cooked meal at midnight.
Were you working 8 hours or a longer day out there?
8 hours.
But he'd work the shift to get him off at 11 o'clock.
And you left the pipe plant and went to where?
Thorns.
I went on construction then.
Oh. When you got done with construction,
He came home on the farm because his dad, the night before his dad died, he told his dad he'd come back to the farm.
and so from that day you just
Farm.
picked up where he left, and
Yeah.
so his animals were your animals, or were they still your mom's
It was
animals?
His mother's.
When did you start acquiring your own animals?
Well, the agreement was that I would get half of the calf crop and half of everything else, half the hay, half of the grain. But the first year we went in hawk, $800. If you can believe it or not, that's what I didn't make a damn thing the first year.
We were poorer than
When
talk
we,
about Tobacco Road.
yeah, we
the
was
show,
we
we
was
were
as
poorer
poor
than
as
that.
Tobacco Road ever thought of being. We knew what being poor was.
So how long did the 50-50 thing go? Or did it go that way until your mom died?
It
Or
stayed that way up until maybe 7, 8 years at the most before she died. And I said, Mom, I've got to have a little bit more. And so I give her a fair rent with the land in. And same with the cattle. And I fed her cattle and her calves, and her cows I took care of at no cost to her.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of the deal.
And you'd feed it with the hay that was grown.
Yeah, I fed a lot of times. I fed the crop off from Clyde, so that it was chopped there, because I got to chop and feed. And I'd cut Clyde because there was much grass in his, and that was good. Oh hell, it was good feed. And I'd feed that to the cattle. And
He was very honest with his money.
yeah, I
we
think
would, we would go out and pick corn for people, just around, to sell it out. We always give her half the money.
Did your dad have a brand on his cattle?
Yeah,
What was his brand?
01 on the right hip.
And ours was 1-0, so he just
Did
turned
they assign you, or did you pick at random? How does
You asked for
picking
it.
a brand?
Well, you just send in 2 or 3 samples of what you could take or would like, and then they check back through and see if they're open.
And then they would issue a branding iron,
No, you had to get-
they'd issue the permit.
and then you'd have to manufacture or
You
purchase,
you
or
make your own brand.
And his mother's was 01, so he
So you
got
just flipped it
one,
upside
only
down.
flip it around, and
Yeah.
you only needed the one thing.
obviously it probably wasn't an electric brand.
Oh.
No,
How would you heat them up?
Build a fire.
in a fire out there, wood fire you'd build out there.
Do you still have the brand?
Yeah.
Oh, sure he does. Didn't I buy you an electric one or something
Yeah.
for Christmas or something?
I had electric in about 25 years, I guess, maybe 30 before I.
That was your
Completely
Christmas
quit.
present one time.
Huh?
And I bought you some calf pullers. I remember your mom was with me, and I thought I know they have something that you pull calves out of.
Calf pullers.
Yeah, we went over to this place, and I went in and I said, "Ah, I don't know what they are, but there's some kind of a thing that you pull calves out." And he said, "It's a calf puller." Yeah, duh.
When you started farming for yourself, were you farming this next north of the house, or were you farming
I was
Clyde's?
farming Clyde's and all of Dad's. Yep.
So paying rent for the whole thing from the very get-go.
Well, Clyde's I was doing it on a percentage. And on Mother's, well, it was the same thing. Yeah. I was doing
What do you mean on a percentage? Did he have animals he was feeding, or
No,
what was he?
just a percentage of the crop.
What would he do
took
with
a
it?
big crop, or if he took a huge one or a little one.
I run his land all for 10 years that way. Then I said, bullshit, I'm going to put you on a cash rent. And that's what I paid him. It was cash after that.
And you started off with just horses.
Yeah.
When did you get your first tractor?
Well, that was, Dad had a tractor when he died. He just bought a new one, new Ford 8N. And I used that on Clyde's farm and on his farm and on Dad's too. I never bought a tractor till 65 before I bought a tractor.
And why did you buy it versus continual use of that?
Because it was wore
Didn't
out
know.
2 or 3
Oh.
times. It has been a good little tractor, damn good little tractor.
You used the horses until
I used the horses with the tractor. I was getting pea vines with the horses, cutting hay with the horses. I think I cultivated beets with the horses. I know I did. I had
what would
to
you use a tractor for then?
plow,
Oh.
haul manure. That was about all. But
What? When did you finally get rid of the horses?
oh, probably 10, 15 years.
Old Blackie, Pat.
Uh.
What was the other one?
Old Pat was we used him when I was farming Clyde's and
Yeah, but there was Blackie and old Pat, and what was the other one?
old Blackie. The old black horse was gone when you when you married me.
Yeah, but that's the one I've heard about. No, and there was one other.
Dobbin,
No,
Right.
I'm not Dobby, not your riding horse. There was another work horse,
Maud.
Maud. Yeah.
Why did you finally get rid of them? Was the tractor more effective,
They were
or
too old.
it wasn't?
They'd gotten too old. Like I am today.
You used to have chickens on the property.
Not here. Few, but not many.
You just brought them down from your mom's, or how did that?
No.
We'd buy the little ones, the little chicks, and keep them right in a box in the house to keep them warm for a while. And then he'd kill them. He'd chop their heads off, for us to do them, and then they'd let them loose, and they'd still be alive going around on the thing, hopping around, their heads off. Oh.
And then what did you do?
And then he'd skin them and everything and bring them in to me, and I'd cut them all up and scrub them all up good and put them in plastics and freeze them. Best chicken because they were fresh and clean.
Did you ever have pigs here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did you put them?
Out the back, someplace.
Well, you mean when we killed them?
No, where did you pen them?
There's a pen out there. I built one.
How many did you have?
Couple.
Yeah.
We usually had a couple. I used to go feed them coal. They loved just a little lump of coal.
Coal?
Coal, and they just chew you. You just
Hear them
chew
crunch
them.
and pop that coal. My hell, they loved it.
And there's something in it that they liked, their bodies liked, and I just loved to do it. I love to watch them eat. Love those pigs.
Why did you get rid of the pigs?
Because we ate them. Oh,
But why didn't you breed a sow and have piglets and?
no.
I worked in the full-time farming. It was too much work.
I was so good to take care of them. I'm not the pig lady.
So when, how many years or how long were you in the home before you put on Alan's bedroom?
In the 2 rooms.
Always been
Couple of years.
longer than that. 10
Okay,
years.
we were married. Yeah. We were married. Oh, trying to think. When Kathy was born, we didn't have it, did we?
No. Didn't have it
We were
for
married 3 years when Kathy was
4 or
born.
5 years after Kathy was born. Close to 10 years.
So 10 years.
And when you built that room on, that became your bedroom?
Oh, we didn't build it. I moved to an old home. But my mother's uncle, gave me an old home in Springville. And I tore it down, and that was on the home, and I moved it out in one piece on top of my truck.
What did you do with the rest of the home?
Brought out the lumber and built onto this part here. A lot of the stuff I used is old stuff.
So with that home, you built Alan's bedroom, this kitchen, and your bedroom and bathroom area back there?
Yeah.
We had to use that and add some new too, but that helped.
And at what point did you build a garage?
Built that about the second year we married.
Oh, Lord, I don't know.
Second or third year, about third.
And where'd you get all the lumber for that?
Bought it. The east side, Dad gave me his garage, and he put his car in. He built a garage on the east side there, but where the steel granary went. He put his car there, and he gave me that garage, and all the boards. The 7-foot boards is on this garage out here, on
Yeah.
the east side.
Well, don't you remember when Aunt Han tore it back down a board? I remember going out there and hammering, taking the nails out.
Yeah.
What did they do with those boards? What did they do?
Well, the first boards that we put out on that shed east of the barn. That's right against the barn there.
Oh, okay.
And then when it got bad, then I tore them off, and I had Lynette help me. We put tin on it.
Lynette was the one that Kathy was so good at hoeing the corn and doing this, but Lynette was good to help with the cattle and stuff. Go out and
Anything you wanted. She was a jack of all trades, and she could do it.
he'd poke his head in that back door and yell, "Meatball, come on!"
They called her Meatball.
Meatball always.
Why?
I don't know.
You
Always
don't
called her
remember how
Meatball.
she got that name? Man.
And he always called Kathy Goldie. Don't know why. I think it was because Goldie Hawn was on the
Laughing.
thing, and she was, Kathy was sort of fluttery like that, you know.
So who helped you build the garage?
I did. Hard to help me put the rafters up and cut the rafters, because I went up to Dad's and I said, I don't know how to cut those rafters. Could you help? Just give me an idea how to do it. And Hard come down and talk to Dad, and Dad just get down and help him cut those rafters for that, for his ceiling. And Hard come down and help me cut the rafters and nail them up. And Hard was going to help me on this here, and he come down, and I was in here tending Kathy. She's crying because she's earache, ear trouble, and he says, "Put that squalling kid down and come on out. Let's go to work." I said, "Give me just a few minutes while Betty hangs her clothes out." It was a Monday wash day. It was a bad day. I says, "Then I'll be with you." He said, "You either come right now or I'm going home and I won't come back." And I wouldn't come, so he went home and never come back.
He was a mean man too.
So I built this pretty much alone.
Did you do the rafters by yourself?
Yeah.
Nobody
Gra-
helped you?
Grandma Clyde and Mother helped me balance them.
I didn't die.
I don't know.
How old was Grandma Clyde balancing rafters?
She was a white-headed little old lady then.
And you couldn't get your brothers or anybody else up here to help
I
you?
didn't go ask them.
What about
But
your
didn't they know that it was
Clyde-
going on?
Clyde
With
wasn't
everything
around.
else.
He's down south on his own interests.
Did you have a decent relationship with any of your brothers?
Well, he
It was
had-
Howard,
older-
he told me to leave that Kathy Ball and come and do it right now, or else he was going home, and I just let him go. I wasn't going to go back and ask him to come down.
And your dad didn't come down to help?
Dad was dead.
Oh, he had an excuse.
Yeah. He'd probably help me.
How
Mother
come my
come
dad
down and
didn't?
helped hold the rafters along the ground. I don't know.
Why didn't I help you?
I don't know, but you didn't.
It's the only thing I didn't help you with.
Well, Grandma Clyde lifted the
Oh, I
boundaries,
believe you. I believe you.
and Mother helped do the rest of
believe
them.
it.
The rest of the rafters was lean-to, so I could do it alone.
You never went to the field without me. Very few times.
Well, I never went to the field without you. I looked like I was going to the field, and goddamn, you was like a dog. You was right out there.
I
Had to have your
did
dishes done
beats
first.
on my- the
That's
dishes were done
right.
first. The dishes were done first.
I could go out to the field, and here she'd come out. She'd done the dishes.
I'd come in and get dinner, and then he'd come in and I'd come in early and get dinner, and I'd say it's okay, but I don't go out until my dishes are done.
She didn't. She done her dishes, and she done her cooking. She was cook,
And
good
swept the
cook.
floor, and I didn't clean the bathroom because we didn't have one. We had an outside toilet.
Oh, we had a bathroom right there.
Before you had this bathroom, how would you bath? What was your
Shower. I had a shower
We had
back
a shower.
in there.
in the old
In
kitchen?
the
Well,
old
honey
kitchen.
put a shower in there. We could shower. Then we had an outside toilet that had spiders in it. That stunk.
She loved
The
spiders.
spider stunk?
No.
How long did it take you to do this add-on for the house?
I was about 2 years, I think.
And tell me about the cellar. Did you do the cellar? How did the cellar get
I
done?
dug the cellar with a shovel alone.
How long did it take you? Guess.
Off and on, it wasn't a work until you got the cellar done. It was just off and on. But
When you had a free chance.
Would you just spread the dirt around, or did you pack it off
no, I had big piles of dirt, and Dad come down and needed some for his. He was putting in a bridge up behind the barn in the ditch, using some 50-gallon drums. He'd cut the holes on them, and he'd load up the damn. I didn't load it. He did. Load the dirt in the wagon and take it up there and then unload it up there.
I can't remember any of that.
So I know that's how I got.
I can't remember if you've ever
The dirt
taken
was
out
moved
that
out.
cellar.
Most of it as I had to have more room because it was. God, that's a lot of dirt to throw when you.
And you poured your own concrete.
Yeah. Betty's dad done the work.
Did he had the forms then?
No, I just bought some boards and nailed them together.
Have you seen the steps?
If anybody could get by like Peter Tumbledown, it was us.
True. I said like
Peter
tobacco road.
Tumbledown. We so piss poor as you can
You know
imagine.
those people up in the Ozarks?
I had a
They're up
goddamn
there,
tie like that,
hillbillies.
that square and that tall, in the back seat of the car to hold the front seat up that you sit in to drive.
Because it would fall back?
Fall back.
'Cause it broke.
Then we had a car. we had. I'll never forget. You had
You
to tie
can't
the
imagine
hood
what
down
we
with
had.
the baling wire that's tied down to the thing. We went over to. I remember picking up these girls this one day, and they said, this girl said, "Is that holding your car up?" I said, "Yeah, don't touch it. The car falls right to the ground." And then we went over to the sewer plant, and she says, "Do you think there's a bathroom here I could use?" I thought that was funny.
And Grandma, you wouldn't go to the outhouse.
I would almost wait till I went down home, because I hated it so. I was so scared of the spiders out there.
One has to go to the bathroom more than once a day.
think-
Would you go to Springville
And
every
not every
day?
day. But let me tell you,
No shit, she could go 3 weeks or a month without using the bathroom.
I'd have to pee, but I couldn't. It got me to where I never did go. I could go a month and never go to the bathroom as far as a bowel movement. Months. I look back and think, how many hamburgers I've had in how many pies have I eaten, how many cookies are in there, how many eggs.
She never ate. I don't know how she kept alive or what kept her going. Only nerves.
Grandma, when did you start in the school? Working for the school?
Oh, Laura, I worked there 22 years.
Do I have to go in and get your bell and read the retirement date?
That'd be your most accurate way to find out.
What year did you retire?
But go get the bell. You'll
And you
find-
didn't get a retirement through them?
Yes,
You did.
yes.
What did you do for the school?
I've done the baking. I did all the baking.
And Grandpa, what year did you start driving bus?
I don't know.
That was a godsend to us.
Been married
Coming in.
about 20 years, I guess, when I started driving that.
I mean, did they come to you and say, we need a bus driver, and they knew that you were there, or was there an
No,
application process?
No,
Or
they come to me and I told them I didn't want it. Brown Kazare came down and seen me several times and told him I didn't want it. Finally, he come back, kept coming back, and he said, "My head, you can do it." I said, "What the trouble with the parents? I gotta go pee."
Okay.
well, your bell doesn't give a year retirement year; it just gives an amount of date.
Seemed like it was late 80s when she retired.
I was 62 years old when I retired.
She retired, what year?
Well, 1928 and 62 would be 90.
62.
That's not
And I didn't think you were working when I graduated.
Oh, I worked until I was 62 and maybe 63.
You started cooking for what school? Where location-wise?
I started at junior high, but I wasn't the baker there. I just was all around done what they wanted me to.
And the junior high was in the old building where you guys had gone to school previously?
It was in the building where it is now.
Oh, where it is now.
How long were you there?
Maybe
Roughly.
a year.
Maybe a year, and then what?
And then they called me and said if I wanted a job at Mapleton, and so I went to Mapleton for about 5 years,
Mapleton
grade school.
grade school.
And you were doing what for them during that time?
I baked from the time I went to Mapleton. And then they called, well, I even had the main, what was she, the for the Spanish part, meet me one day at school when I was up on the step. And they wanted me to be manager because the manager was going to quit, Jay was quitting, and I did not want to be manager of it. They called so much, it was May Hansen. They called so much about me looking to be it, and I'd just say I don't want it. And then, my kids even got to when they, at a strange lady used to call them to say I wasn't home. I did not want it. So then they called me and asked me if I would just go down to the Sage Creek because they needed a baker down there.
Mm-hmm.
So I said sure. I went and I went for about 3 years, and then I moved back up to Mapleton. I love Mapleton. Loved it.
And Grandpa, what year did you buy the farm?
I didn't buy it.
Well, it was given to you?
I didn't buy no farm. And nothing was given to me. I got this 5 acres here that we're on.
Well, how did you get the farm?
Spanish work.
Up the canyon?
Oh, I bought that.
Yeah, what year did you buy that?
Hell, I don't know. You know, Betty?
I don't have any idea.
How many acres was it?
Quite a few.
About 60.
And you bought it just for somewhere to put your cows in the summer?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, the guy that sold it to me, oh my Lord.
He was a nice guy.
He was probably a nice guy, but he was so weird. He ended up...
Hey, you're thinking of the wrong guy now. Get the guy straight.
Isn't it, what was his name?
His name was, Chambers.
Huh?
Chambers.
Oh, well, I thought we bought it from Pace.
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
Pace was down below.
Okay. That Pace guy was over when
63, 65, someplace in there. Alan was 59. Alan was born in 59, and you went to the hospital to have him when we bought, didn't we? We had owned, he was up fixing fence.
you and I were up fixing fence, and I rode the tractor that whole day. I was on the dumpy tractor and out here helping him with the stuff. Went to the hospital that night and had Adam.
So you were up there 9 months pregnant on a tractor riding around
And helping him fix fence.
20 miles from town.
But I didn't.
She was up there. I was putting in the fence down in the willows, and she went up to help me with the machinery because she could ride that, and it wouldn't hurt as big as she was. She was big, but we
But I
didn't.
never was very big.
We didn't know she was going to have it that quick.
I wasn't.
Well, it's just-
We went over to
For
Provo
the record.
once when I was getting a license or something, and we picked up Jen Allen because she needed to ride home, and she says, "Oh, when did you have your baby?" And I said, "I haven't. I'm expecting it next week."
Well, she wasn't big. Hell, almighty no. She didn't look like she was going to have one really. One woman told her, she says, "You can't."
Well,
have
my
a baby."
babies were only like 5 pounds, and one was
Up to 6
4.5,
pounds.
and Alan was the biggest.
And
He
they were
was 6.
considered full term.
Yeah,
Full-term.
yeah, everyone was full term.
Any problems with the birth or delivery or right after that time? You guys come straight home from the hospital?
Right from the hospital.
How long were you in the hospital for?
Oh, you'd stay about 5 days. It wasn't just you in and out like there, but you'd stay about 5 days in the hospital.
Supposed to
And
keep
you
your
didn't
feet
get,
up
you
off
just
the
barely
floor
get up
for
and
about
walked a little
5
bit.
days,
Now they
10
get you right
days.
up and you're
Don't
going.
put your feet down.
When you're up at the farm, how frequently would you be up there? What kind of maintenance would it take?
Oh, it'd take me probably a week of repair and maintenance after I got things going.
Just weather beating up on the fences, or
weather in the creek.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. If it would be, we could see a thunderstorm coming in, it started thundering, we'd head for there because he had a fence across the creek, to keep the cattle in, and it would wash that right out. So we'd head right up there and he'd go up and fix that up.
So you spent a lot of wet, muddy days up there.
No,
Spent a lot of days up
so
there.
I had to make quite a few trips up there, but I didn't spend much time there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm trying, if I could catch the cow this still in the place when it hadn't got out, why it wasn't nothing to put the fence back across the creek. I took up a bunch of smooth old wire, telephone wire I could use. That's what I really struggled with.
I hated the farm.
Why?
Well, for one thing, we took Lynette's.
Go
I
ahead.
know
Lynette's?
you've heard it.
But tell me, I haven't heard.
Lynette's friend, Miss Betty Williams, her mother called me that morning and said, can Betty come after school and stay with you because she had to work late? And I said, sure. So she was here a lot with Lynette.
No, you told her no.
I
You was
told-
going to the farm.
Well,
And
anyway,
she said-
I said, we're going to the farm. If it's all right with you, if she comes up the farm with us,
That's
she can
right.
come.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, well, that's fine, whatever. So we get up to the farm, and we're bringing cattle out. And then we went up to herd up the cattle and bring them home. So the kids, Kathy and Lynette and Betty, went up the creek a little ways where there was a nice place where they could play, and the water was maybe this deep.
Mm-hmm.
And
About 18 inches.
so when we went to go home, I went up and yelled, "Come on, you kids, it's
Well,
time
yeah,
to come home."
hole.
And I said, "It's time to come home. Come on." Here come Lynette and Kathy. And I said, "Where's Betty?" "We don't know. She just left." And I said, "She just left? Where is she?" "I don't know, but we were playing and then she was gone."
She got mad and left.
And I said, "Oh my Lord, she's in that creek." Where could she be? Ned got on his horse, went all up the mountain, yelling at her name and screaming. I went up and down the things yelling, and never could rouse her. Well, we called the police.
Oh.
Then we had the police come up. They called the Fish and Game. They drug the creek.
Well, you had to get to a phone, so you had to come all the way back down?
Yeah.
No, there was a Thistle. There was a place called Thistle up there.
Yeah, Thistle
that had a
Town.
little a garage or something, a station or something where they had a phone. And Blondie Beardall, Beth Beardall, Beth Larsen's dad came out. He was the cop. And it was the night of deer hunting. The deer hunting was the next morning, and all the deer, they went out on the thing and stopped the deer hunters, and they brought their trucks in, went up and down that field with their trucks with the lights to find her. And I said, "She's in that creek. Well, she's drowned. How am I going to tell?" I was hysterical. This went on for hours. Pretty soon, they called me the truck. They said they found her. I said, "Where?" She had got mad at the kids, walked across the field, got over the fence, across the railroad tracks, and stopped the car. And this guy picked her up and brought her home. I could
That's
have
the truth.
So
killed
she
her.
didn't get to go back to the farm, right?
She didn't come to my house for a few days. Oh, and I said, "I hate this place. I'll never come back here again."
So, Grandpa, what year did you have your heart attack in?
It was up there, or just below there that you had
74?
started.
76.
You went up there just like any other normal trip?
Yeah.
What were you going up there for?
I Nancy down here driving me nuts, and I said, told her, I said, I've got to go up there.
He loved it up there. He loved to go up
It
there.
was relaxing to go up there. When I get up in when I get to the mouth of the canyon, I'd forget all my troubles down here. The minute I'd get in the truck to come home, why, I'd forget my troubles there and pick up the ones I left here. It was nice that way.
So when you got up there that day, do you remember what you were up there for? Do you remember what you
no.
did?
I was up.
You were really dirty, whatever it was,
I fixed
because
a little fence, and I thought a bunch of railroad ties was there.
3 feet long?
4 feet.
4
They
feet?
cut them in two and took them out of the tracks, and I thought, hell, I'm going to take some of them home.
To burn or to use?
I don't know what I could do with them.
Just
it
to
wouldn't be
have
to
them.
use it, yeah. But then I felt that pain right in my neck there.
Were you lifting those ties at all, or no?
well, a little
Or were
bit.
you in the truck driving home?
No,
Not
I,
yet.
I was still there.
Oh,
I just got there, just hadn't been there, I don't think, over an hour. I felt that in my neck, and
And what else? Any other pain anywhere else?
No. And I, what the hell's the matter? And then I threw on 3 or 4 ties, and it got worse. And I thought, what the hell is the matter with this son of a bitch? It ought to stop. And I kept going for a few more minutes, and I said, something said to me, you get your ass out of here right now. Just instinct or something told me that. So I had to go up the road a little ways. I was west of the gate there. You go in, I had to go up the road a little ways to get back up to go onto the road. And going down, that's when it hit me, when I was going down the canyon. I knew something was really wrong then, because I was getting foggy in the head. My back hurt like hell, and I was starting to get groggy, and by the time I got down to Covered Bridge Canyon, I didn't know where I was half of the time, and I thought there was no sense of killing somebody else. And I said, if I can just, well, I kept telling myself coming down, if I can make diamond. If I can make diamond, I'll stop. And I hit diamond, and I said, if I can make the straightaway, I'll be all right. I'll make straightaway, and then I'll stop. Well, I could have come right on the mouth of the canyon, but I never made it home because I was passing right out. And I thought, well, rather than hurt somebody, I better pull off. So I pulled off the road and got out of the truck. Then it was really, I hurt like hell through my chest, my back.
So you got out of the truck, and what'd you do?
Well, I walked around in front and sit down by the front tire that was down off the highway, and I could hear music playing then. And I got up and looked around, and there wasn't nothing there, so I sat back down again. And I think I was passing in and out of consciousness then. And
Then he went through the tunnel, saw the end of the light.
So you're sitting there by the side of the road,
yeah,
next to your tire.
yeah. Then I went up that telephone hauler up in Diamond. I was flying over that telephone hauler, Buck Rogers style. And everything, all the leaves was off the tree. It was dewy and moist, and the rain, just like the rain had just quit. Smelled so good and fresh. And then I come back to my body again. It was hot and dry and dusty and sweaty. And I can't remember then.
You heard somebody.
How long did you sit there?
I was there, I imagine, an hour and a half anyway.
Then you heard somebody?
Yeah, then I heard some laughing. And I got up to look then, and I could see a car across the road headed down in. And I could see a kid stick his head out like a pheasant, and then ducked his head back again when he seen me. And I thought, well, if I can draw his attention, I'll motion him over here, because I know I couldn't have went there. So when he got coming up again, I motioned him, and he ducked again. And I thought, well, I don't blame the kid, because I was in those, my clothes was black from those ties, and I was black on me. And I thought, well, you look trashy, and the kid don't want to get mixed up with you, so if I can sit and stay there. So I just got settled back down, and I heard a guy holler, "Hey, you need some help?" And then I roused myself back again. I pulled myself back up from the bumper of the truck with one hand, got back to my knees. I couldn't get up any higher, and I motioned him when he come on over. Then when he seen me, I said, "Can I hire you to take me home?" And he said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "I don't know. I hurt like hell. I don't know what's the matter." And he says, "You argued me about 3 minutes we'll turn the car around and bring the kids back with us. They were Boy Scout. They were going rafting in the Spanish Fork River there. And they said they had to stop because it was getting so damn late. They left early enough, but it was so late they was going clear up in Diamond. So they
Just happened to stop.
He started, he got the kids back in the truck, back in his station wagon, and headed back, ready to back down. And he come and drove me. I said, I can't drive. I said, I'm not reliable. I said, maybe I can guide you. He said, where do you live? And I said, Mapleton, just outside of the Spanish Fork Canyon there. I said, if you can get me there, why, I can make it then. So we got down there. I keep passing right out. Seemed like I woke up just in time and tell him where to turn off the road over there. Then we come on down to Jim Lindsay's corner there. I told him to turn there. I rounded enough to do that. I passed back out and then I around the corner. I rounded again and told him to come this way. When he come up to Clyde, I said, don't stop home. Go over to Clyde's, because if my wife sees me, she's going to go nuts. So I had him, I said, pull on his goddamn lawn. It won't hurt. And I talked just like that, too.
I'll bet you did.
And the guy didn't, of course. He pulled aside, and Clyde knew something was wrong when he seen somebody else at the wheel, and he come right out to the truck. Then he got his car out and loaded me in the car. He and I sit in the back, and that guy took us right to the hospital.
Didn't stop and get Grandma?
No.
I wasn't here. I was at the Mutual. There was a Mutual party up at the park.
Party.
Well, it was for the Mutual that night. They were having a party. We thought all the Mutual. Was
So how much later did you find out about it? How much later that day or that evening?
Oh, Alan, they called here and told, I guess, Myrtle or someone called over and told Alan. And here Alan come running and he said, Mom, there's something wrong. They've taken Dad to the hospital. So then I went down. I called Kathy and said, Kathy, we're picking you up. Dad's in the hospital. I meant, her dad. She thought I meant my dad. And she said, she came out and she says, where's Grandpa? And I said, it's your dad. She says, it's my dad? No, you know, it's my dad. Oh, it's my dad. I thought it was Grandpa.
What hospital did they take you to?
Utah Valley.
Utah Valley. And what happened when you got there?
Well, it seemed like I waited forever, but they tried to say I wasn't there only about 5 minutes, and they had the doctor there come out on the emergency, I'd say a launch pad. That's where I sit, because I didn't get inside. I was so damn woozy. I told Clyde, I said, I gotta sit down or I'll fall down. Might hurt myself on this cement, so I sit down. But when what's his name, the doctor?
Rupert.
When he come out, I was laying full strung on the floor. I passed right out. And so I guess then he knew. He took one quick glance and checked my heart, and he knew something, what it was. That's all I remember for 2 or 3 days.
So you were probably 3 hours with the heart attack before anything was done.
I'd say yes. Because if you're driving straight in that truck at 35, 40 mile an hour, it'd take you a half hour to come home. And
you were a while laying there on the ground.
Yeah.
But
Well, the sun was high when I started. When we got to Mount the Canyon, the sun was getting low in the west, and this was in July.
But he was so high strung. Dr. Rupert said it was because of his, he was such a high strung nerves, and he told me, he said, I've never had a patient like him ever. He said he won't keep the things in his arms. He's pulling them out. He's just going crazy. They just had to watch him because he wouldn't leave anything in his arms. He wouldn't leave anything in his nose, everything.
Did the heart attack slow you down at all? I mean, after you got home?
Some. He used to scare the hell out of me. I'd get so mad at him. Him out there, remember down the school section, he was pulling out dams out of the ditch and that.
Well, I was watering about 30 days, right around 30 days I was watering again.
I know that Louise Plumley Jensen, she said, let me tell you, Ned give my husband, my husband's been so scared since he had the heart attack, and he saw what Ned can do, and now he's starting to do a little something. Ned just, you wouldn't even think he'd had one.
I hauled hay. It wasn't, I don't think 6 weeks. It might have been 6 weeks.
Well, from what you talk about your family, they weren't going to come down and help. I mean, your brothers, whatnot.
Hell, Clyde lived there. He's retired. He come out and helped, but let me tell you, the way he worked.
Now, didn't Joe and Elmer come and help?
Don't think so.
Oh, I thought they did. I thought Elmer did.
Elmer did down there, him and Dick Bills. They hauled that field out.
Now, I know there's a story about you hiring guys out to come haul the hay.
Oh,
Was that about that
was
time?
the next year, wasn't it?
When you were at Thorns, you were
Yeah.
hiring all those guys.
Where'd you get them from?
Or the Thorns.
Oh, guys you worked with just doing side work.
Yeah. Yeah, they knew I told, word got around I'd had a heart attack, and they said, when you get in your hay, let us know. We'll come and work for
And they
beer.
They said if you furnish the beer, it won't cost you a penny. So I went down and bought some beer, and I'd furnished beer. And Danny was just this little kid that he was about lived out there. They would pick him up and throw him up to one of the guys up on the thing, throw him back down when they get through on the stack.
Good bunch
That,
of
well, the
kids.
Snell Nelson, something Snell, and he was the
Snell
football
what?
coach at the.
No.
At Spanish Fork, the football coach, and then he played for the Y at one time, football.
I know there's a story about Alan or somebody on the back of the hay wagon jumping up and down trying to grab wires.
That's Stanley Larsen.
Stan Larsen.
And Kevin Larsen.
Huh?
Kevin was with him too.
Well, Alan was there.
Alan too.
God, I was so mad when I seen that
Can you
Alan
tell me the story?
trying to reach up and touch the telephone line.
They were riding up on top of
highway.
the hay coming home, and Ned was in the truck coming around, and they would be standing riding up
And
on
I was
top
up,
of that.
we was up 7 high to start with. God, you're up there. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, Kenny's father was driving a thing when he was younger, driving a truck, and there was a thing on it, and the hay fell over and killed the guy. They were just crazy kids. And then when Ned was at Thorns, these kids, I'd go out and supervise them and help them, and these kids would, while he was at Thorns, they would be hauling hay.
Yeah, it did.
The barn that was behind your parents' house, was that the first thing that you would fill? I mean, would you keep it full of hay all
Yes.
through the years?
We
Yes.
put a lot of hay in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that, I mean, you see Ron going up and down the road with hay back and forth, and he doesn't, did you, once you had it there, would you leave it for those cows, or would you move it back and forth?
Now, a lot of times I had to haul hay down here, the same as I had hay up there. It fed both places. I had
He had cattle
both
up there too.
I had anywhere 40 head of 50 head of cattle in there, besides the 50 head down here.
Not enough room to keep them in one spot.
No, and I didn't want to crowd them. Well, them up there that I had up there, I was fattening. I used to fatten them here, but I moved the whole
To sell.
up there. Yeah.
What do you do to fatten them?
Feed them all the grain.
Grain.
Silage. I'd feed a lot of silage, oats silage. I'd put the oats in whole. And hell, it was good. Well, you helped to use, you know what it's like.
Living in the pit.
The cows can eat about whatever they want. They don't have stomach problems, unlike horses.
Yeah.
Now, do you have to limit how much grain cattle eat?
Only when you get them on grain, and sometimes you lose one, sometimes they'll founder. It can happen. But by feeding size like I ended up doing for 10 or 15 years, why, there's no danger at all. Because it's grain is silage. It put in green.
Do you know what he used to tell me? He'd go to Thorns to work, and he'd say, now that cow's bloated before. That one cow in the field. If you see him laying down and he's bloated, you take a knife and stab it in his stomach.
Now, I've heard a story about you doing that.
I did.
How did that work? What's the...
That's the air out of it. The air had
Blew
come.
my hat right off my head, about 4 feet in the air.
Are you serious? Holy crap.
Did you have to, do you have to duct tape the cow back together? Do you have to sew him up?
Or
Or
you just let it alone, it'll heal. If you can keep flies, if the flies blow flat, well, you have a problem then. But it was late in the fall, and I was all right.
But didn't you actually think I was going to go out there and stab that cow?
Yeah,
you take care of all the chickens?
I didn't kill them.
she didn't commit murder.
Never. Ooh. That was the worst day of the year was when I had to do those chickens. Bring them in and get them, have them all gutted and all the skins and everything, because we never left the skin on our chickens. They were always without. And they'd skin them all off. I'd have to cut them all into pieces.
Let me tell you, them is the cleanest chickens you could possibly eat.
Ned thought I used soap on them, and I said I did not.
Grandpa, you farmed all your life, really. What's your favorite part about farming? Why? What was your draw to it?
Freedom, I think, of doing what he wanted and what he wanted. Not having someone tell him, I'll bet.
Being your own boss?
Yep.
What would you have done differently if you could?
I don't know.
No regrets.
Wouldn't have married her.
Oh, Dad!
Well, she was ready to go with the rich guy.
That's right. Well, she's had one feller sends her postcard every year wanting her to come back to California.
Now, what's the name of the guy that kisses you on the lips?
Well, that's Rex Martin.
What's the story with that?
I don't know, he's just a friend of mine. I went to school
Well, I've
with him.
got lots of friends, but they don't walk up and kiss me on the lips.
His wife is a very dear friend of mine.
Oh,
That makes a lot of difference.
We're just friends, and he said it's just a sisterly kiss.
oh yeah,
I've heard that before.
yeah.
I never kissed my sister on the lips.
He always kisses me. But
What kind of...
he calls me up on the phone too to see how things are going. I haven't heard from you guys for a long time.
Maybe he's getting a guilty conscience. One of these days he's gonna come out and see you and whisk you away, whisk you away.
He's got Anna May, his sweet wife.
Well, he's gonna leave her.
When you guys were younger and fresh married, what would you do for fun?
Nothing. What did we do?
Work's all I know.
Well, you played checkers. I know you played checkers.
Yeah, we did.
We used to have a guest game too. That's the only thing I can remember we ever did. Laying on that couch behind the stove and have a guest game.
What do you mean? What kind
We
of a
used to
guest
sit
game?
there and eat oranges and where it was warm there in the winter and just I don't know what we'd sit there and we'd lay there and play. I'm thinking of something, you know, when it's what is it? Now 20 questions. Is it?
Did you guys ever have a radio?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Would
Always
you
had
listen
radio.
to it?
You bet. Always-
What would you listen to?
I used to listen to the soap operas. And Ned, anything with music, Ned was like.
I don't know what to listen to. Had that one little wooden one that I bought home from the service that I sent home if you can to Dad. And when I come home, I wanted to take it, and he didn't want me to take it, and I should have left it with him. He had to go buy one.
When did you finally get a
And
TV?
she moved the fridge or something and pulled it off the fridge. It fell off the fridge.
I did?
Yep.
can't remember that. Things you know you block out of your memory. Our first TV, my mother and dad had the first TV in any of the neighborhood around there. And it was about this big, black and white. And
Did you get crowds?
It was
all
snowing
the
like
neighbors
hell.
come. They'd line the chairs and the couch and all up, and all the neighbors would come every night and watch TV. And we just said, "My Lord, can you even imagine that there? You can see this." But it was snowy all the time, and Dad'd be half the time over fixing it, or they'd be on the seat up on the roof.
Could never
doing-
get a clear picture.
Were there programs on all day long, or was it just
Yeah.
a couple hours? What would be on TV? What was typical?
soap operas.
Were there
Yeah.
advertisements?
Yeah, they'd have to have advertisements. Oh, Lord, I can't remember.
Was the news local?
The news was, it was
News
during
like it
World
is
War,
today,
during World War One.
I was just out of Salt Lake.
mostly. Some national news. you
Gabriel
hear,
Heater.
national.
Used to be on there, and my dad had sat there listening to it, and the tears rolled down his cheeks.
That's during the war.
That's during the war. He'd say, "Got good news." Gabriel Heater, "Good news today," or there'd be "Sad
Good news
news
tonight."
today. If it was good news, Dad cried. If it was sad news, Dad cried.
And when did you finally get a TV?
Lord, I couldn't even tell you.
I don't know, but it was a snowy son of a bitch.
The first one we had, I mean, the one that we did have when the kids were, Kathy and Lynette were just teenagers, it'd go off. We had a whole stack of pillows we'd throw at it, it'd come back on. And you didn't have remotes. Never had remotes. You had to go change the station. They had about
Wow.
three or four stations on it. That was it.
What?
And black and white. Oh Lord, there's never color.
At what point did you get rid of the stove and put in a furnace? And how did you get a
It was
furnace
after your heart attack.
How did you get a furnace, that big furnace, in the cellar?
Ned,
Because that's like putting a round peg in a square hole.
They brought it in pieces, put together down cellar.
Ned, it was while after you had your heart attack that
No,
we put that
it
in.
was when I was operated on for a hernia.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
And you had to dig the hole for the fuel tank.
No, they did. I dug that. I dug part of it anyway.
I don't know that. I can't remember any of that.
Don't think I dug it all, but I dug part of it, and then they finished digging it.
And it's just a metal tank.
Yeah.
How big is it?
Round buoy. It's a buoy that goes in the ocean.
Like
Those big
Ron's got down the street.
Yeah.
Where did you get that from?
Well, the contractor brought it.
And they just modified it to cut a hole in the bottom and
Yeah.
fed a pipe out?
Yeah.
How many gallons does it hold?
200,
Pretty good sized.
300, 400 gallon.
How'd you move it? That's got to be a heavy.
They did. I had a loader on the tractor. And they just brought it in and set it down with a loader
And where's it at?
right there.
Right behind you outside the window.
Okay. How long does 400 gallons get you? Will that last you a whole winter?
Uh-huh.
No.
Well, doesn't it?
Don't when
He
we're just
doesn't.
relying on it used to do us along with the stoves.
And what's the difference between, say, the heating oil and, say, diesel? Is it similar, or
Same thing.
is it?
Yeah. It used to be a little more refined, I believe, years ago when they first come out with it.
When you first put it in, did you notice the difference in the heat that the home received, or
Oh, I missed the. Almost missed that. It's a different kind of heat. Your stoves give you a warmer rudder all around it, heat. Just like when we've only built 2 fires in that stove this whole year.
Well, I know in my younger days, you used to leave the bedroom window open all winter long, almost.
Always. Not anymore. I can't stand the cold. Too cold for me.
He sleeps under an electric blanket with all the blankets on him. I go in and turn my electric blanket off, take the whole electric blanket off for me, and have my legs out half the time. and yet I freeze going outside 100 times more than he does. Don't ask me.
And did you put in the septic tank yourself when you moved in? How big was that? What's the...
Oh, 2 4-foot compartments, I believe.
I wouldn't know any of that. I don't know.
And you ran your own water lines out to the manger and
I
that?
dug the son of a bitches. I dug my water lines with my own shovel from the road right on through and out to back over to south of the barn, back north to the north of the barn, then east.
Crew out to the sheds out there. Crew out past the sheds.
I've replaced 60 feet of water line. I got leaking on me, and I can show you the pipe sometime. It's really pitted.
And you laid the concrete out there in the manger
Yeah.
in what year?
What's that? By the south manger, by the barn.
Sure.
Now, didn't Taylor come and help you with that?
No, not that south of the barn. He said,
No, but the other
he
one?
said manger.
What about the north manger?
Manger. No, it's got a little bit of phosphate
Asphalt?
asphalt in it. And the south one's got, it's all cement. Right.
Didn't Crew do the cement out here?
Not the manger, Betty.
No, not the manger. The corral.
Yes, he did. He helped me with the platform.
Who else helped you? Did you just lay it? Did you pour it by yourself, or did the kids help you, or?
Cook Taylor and I poured the platform, 9-foot piece, the calcium on the eat. We poured that.
In the south manger?
Oh, in the north.
No.
In the north? And on the south?
I poured that 4-foot piece. I done that myself. Mixed the cement and poured it.
He had all the cement next to himself. We bought one.
That's the one that's out there underneath
Uh-huh.
What about the cement where the blue truck is?
I had that hauled in.
You had that all done.
That was done after I done the corral.
Okay.
And where did, I remember there used to be a shed that the manure spreader used to sit under. Where did that go?
It was.
I mean, I have little memories of it, but
It was about.
I don't know where. Behind this, on the other side
It
of the
was
sheds.
about where the
I can't remember that.
right against the ditch bank.
last of the hay's underneath the shed there out there east. It was east and west.
And Mom took the wood off of that, right?
Oh, put it in their basement.
And put it in her basement, right? That barn wood.
Oh.
No?
She took the wood, the rough woods off the barn.
His dad's barn.
Oh,
Barn up there. I'll hold him up to her.
They put it on their one wall in their basement.
and they moved to Georgia.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just, well,
Well, you know what was something about that? They built that home out there, you know, and they put in this basement and had the kitchen and everything in it. So if Ned and I, or Grandma Molly Oak, or one of them needed a place to live, and then they moved to Georgia.
And Grandpa went with them.
What'd you do?
What year did you rebuild the sheds that the tractors and the swather and the blue truck now sit under?
Too hard to remember.
I think that south shed, that long one has been built. I built that somewhere around 75.
Lord, I couldn't tell you.
And
I remember helping put
that
in the
little
tent.
shed there where the case tractor is, that was probably 3 years before.
And I had,
And the shed over there, the little one where the Ford is, that's been there a long time. And the other one's been there a long time.
well, that shed you got hay in the manger, the north manger. I can have memories of the that scratch post thing that hung in there that the cows would rub underneath. When did you finally kick them out of there and put that hay and straw in there?
Well, that's been about 20 years, longer than that.
Why'd you kick them out? Why did you take that shelter away from them, I guess?
Well, I don't know. I figured they didn't need it. Didn't have enough in there to use it.
Who brought the tin greenery in? Did you assemble it, or was it brought in one piece?
No, I dug out in Dad's.
Where did it sit?
It's at up home there, just
West of the cellar, wasn't it?
well, just northwest of the coal house. Remember the coal house?
Mm-hmm.
Just northwest of there.
No, was he dead when you brought it down?
Yes.
Oh.
He'd been dead a long time. I asked Mother if I could have it. I said I'd like to use it to put grain in. She says, you betcha.
How did you get it up off the ground and down here?
Well, I just put a couple poles underneath it and drug it down the road. Poor people have poor ways. Rich ones, damn mean ones.
And this here field just north of the house, you put the ditch in that?
No, I had a ditch there all through the years.
Did you build any ditches yourself on your land?
I built that ditch, you know where the head gate is, and that Smithman is the wide one right out here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got there about 20 feet, and I built the ditch from there on out.
It was just flat land.
There was no ditch there. And the same way in the school section on that cross ditch of mine, I built that ditch and had no ditch there.
And just with a shovel?
Yeah. No, I plowed it.
Oh.
Plowed it the best I could, and then I shoveled it.
And how long did that take you?
Well, probably a half a day.
It's like I wouldn't even know where to begin.
And now he sits here and he can't do it, and it just kills him.
Oh, this one, the one in the school section, I don't think I was over a half a day if I was that long. This one here.
Earlier you talked about the plum tree and the pear tree out here to the south of us. When did you get rid of them and why?
Well, your grandma here didn't like the mess of the wasps with the pears laying on the ground, and there was a lot of pears every fall, but they were sure good to eat.
And then these things, the plums weren't much good. Were they the Italian prune?
No, there was Satsuma plums.
Oh. But
They were round, about like my hand. They were a good plum, but hell, we never put them up. They just fell on the ground every year. So after we put the house in, why I thought we just would get rid of them, get them out of there.
And you had a clothesline going across there.
Yeah.
When you took
from the pear tree
pear
to the
tree
walnut
out,
tree.
you weren't using the clothesline anymore for much anything because you're going to the laundromat, right?
Used to hang, when I'd wash my sheets once a week, I'd hang them out on the lawn, and it'd be so cold they'd just freeze solid out there. And then you'd have to, and then I had two babies in diapers, and you didn't have the diapers now. They were the cloth diapers. I'd hang those out, and they'd just freeze solid. Then we'd have to bring them in the house. We had 2 rooms, and I had to have those sheets and those things all around and everything, wouldn't we?
Yep.
To try to get them. But after they weren't froze, it didn't take much they dried really fast. But they were just always there because it was always time to wash again by the time they dried.
When you first got married, you didn't go to the laundromat to wash your clothes.
They didn't have laundromats.
At what point did you start going to the laundromat? And what did you do before that? What were you using to wash?
We had a wringer washer, electric. They go through the ringers and into the tubs and then through the ringers.
About 3 or 4 years before that. 4 years born. she was going to the laundromat.
I mean, I remember going as a little
Oh,
kid.
yeah. And
Why
they
did,
always,
why did you go to the laundromat?
always get
what
your
changed
bugles,
it?
those little bugle things.
That's right. And they had the big carts, and we.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sorry.
Take those two little kids with me.
What made you start going to the laundromat versus doing it at home?
Easier.
It was easier, and I just don't know. I don't know. Just tried it one day, and it was so much
Faster.
easier than dragging all that stuff out and doing that. In the winter, that you could dry them right there, and they'd all be dried. And
When did you finally get your own machines?
About 78.
quite a few years before I retired from school. I don't know. I don't know. But I know I was taken when these kids were little.
I think it was probably I was probably 8 years old. I bet you was.
When I
I remember being so upset. I was so mad that you got a washer and dryer. We couldn't go to the laundromat anymore. I was so hurt that we weren't being able
They
to go
love
there
to go
get
there and
bugles.
they'd
You
push
like
those
that
carts
candy.
around and they'd always
Yeah.
get a package of bugles so that I'm having a
Yeah.
drink, a canned drink.
And we love going to the laundromat. How sick is that? Golly, I'm so.
I could
Feel bad
entertain
when
them,
they're-
and they love to come here to do that. Oh boy, I entertained my grandkids. Wonderful. Laundromat. Mom used to walk down to see us. She just lived a couple of blocks there.
After all the years you're done, any regrets?
For what?
The years you've been together? What would you have done differently?
I'd have been a better, different individual than I was.
How so?
I'd have been different. That covers quite a spectrum.
Yeah?
The only thing I can think of I'd done is that I'd have treated my dad a little bit better
Oh, God.
when he was older. Well, I treated him good,
You,
but I. I would have done a little bit different there. That's all I can say.
I don't know how you could treat him any better than you did. I don't know how it would be possible.
I know. He was a very hard man. He was such a
He was,
Good man.
he was lonely.
all of my life. As a teenager, as a young girl, his dad was harsh and mean. My dad was the most kind, soft-hearted. Anything that.
Well, you was just as damn good as your dad was being a good man to be around now, girl.
I let him die alone.
Oh, bullshit.
Didn't.
Grandpa, I remember you working out on the farm from day one. Did you take any vacations?
Never.
Yeah, 73. We went back east to Nauvoo.
Yeah, we did.
Who? Who went?
Me and her.
him. Me and him.
You just picked up and
Right.
got in the car and left?
Pick
Well,
up,
we
went
planned
for
it.
about
We
a
decided
week.
to. Well, I'll tell you what we did once. We took off and got out there in the car, and he said, we weren't sure where we were going. He says, should we go that way or this way? And we flipped a coin to see which way we went. True story.
Did you have intentions of going to Nauvoo when you went there?
Yeah, I did. I don't know how she did.
Did you make stops along the way, or was it
Yeah.
just...
Oh no, we stayed in hotels.
Well, I mean, did you have an agenda, or did you just drive until you're tired and stay in a room until you
we
got
just
there?
drove
Yeah.
until we retired.
What'd you do when you got
No
there?
plans.
We'd
Eat,
never
go to
drive
bed.
until almost dark. We'd stop and get something to eat and go to a motel
When you
and go
got
to
to
bed.
Nauvoo, what would you do? What
In
was
Nauvoo?
your goal?
We went seen where Joseph Smith was.
Went through the
Or
homes
held
and
him
things.
down
And
in the jail there in the log cabin or whatever they call it.
In Liberty?
Yep. And
we went back to June's. Is that the same trip?
I don't know, different Mormons. It was Joseph Smith's, the LDS Mormons, and then there's the other Mormons
It was
Reorganized.
reorganized. Yeah, we saw there where they were.
Well,
Or one time we went back to
They still own part of the land.
where did she live, in Ohio? Iowa? Ohio. Iowa. We went back to his sisters and stayed. I mean, we went back and saw them.
I never took a leisure trip in my life, so I don't know why. I didn't know how.
Till you took that trip to California
Oh yeah, you did. You were there.
with
yeah.
my folks.
That was a good trip. I didn't have to drive.
Except the whole way home.
Didn't have to think about anything.
Yeah, he did the home because they put Lynette on the
Because
plane.
I wouldn't go.
He wouldn't go. Brent, it was agreed that Brent and me and Lynette and Ned would drive down, and then Mike was going to bring Megan down. No, Courtney down, and Shannon was coming with him to help with Courtney on flying down and meeting us. Well, and then he was supposed to go back, and Shannon was supposed to stay with us. He would not go back. He said, I don't want to go back up there. I want to stay with Grandma and Grandpa here. So Lynette says, he says, Mom, you go home with Dad. You let me stay here. So I'm telling you, we almost pushed her on that plane, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then remember what a hard time we had
How
finding our
lost we
hotel.
got. We must have drove for 2 hours to get 20 miles in the long
Stopped
run.
and asked people at things, and nobody even knew. In the service stations, they had no idea.
Well, finally the guy just said, hey, just go up the road here for a few minutes and it's right there.
Well, yeah, Ned went into a hotel and asked him the thing, and he said, we said we're staying right across from where the sign says the greatest show on earth, for the Disneyland. We were staying right across. He says, just get out there under that road and it'll take you right through. It was Harbor Avenue. That took us right through Disney. But we had gone halfway down to San Diego. We just turned off the wrong way.
There was a story about some snakes.
Oh,
How'd that go?
oh,
When did it happen and what did it involve?
tell him.
No, you're all worked up. You tell me.
Okay. There was a great big, a lot of the trash and the limbs and things that we'd get off the trees we pulled. There was a big hole right over there, a big dip down, so we'd put them over there. All of a sudden, a snake would come out of there. Right, and so Ned thought he'd burn and see what he'd do, so we set that on fire. And dozens of them, these snakes just poured out of there. There were all these people were running them over in their cars, they were stopping. All of these snakes all over the road.
They were coming from Clydeside over to here.
Over across the road. Ned was killing them, and they were, oh my Lord, it was horrible.
Or were you up in a
Snakes.
tree or in the house with the doors locked?
I was sitting on the road looking at them. I was sitting where Doug said. No, I was out there.
And lightning hit you guys once.
Oh man, did it ever.
When was that?
I don't know the time, but it was when Clyde and Myrtle lived over there. Myrtle and I was down cellar, and all of a sudden the lights all went off. And it made a funny noise down there. So it scared me to death. I come up and went out, and Myrtle was out in the driveway out there. All of a sudden, it just shot right through me. This lightning. We were standing in water. Well, I'll tell you, because the wires were down, remember? It hit these wires here, and the live wires were down on the ground, dancing all around. And it just sent it right over to me, and it just went right through me. It shocked me really, really bad. And Clyde was yelling, "Don't come over, you two! Don't come over this way! Don't you come around that thing!" So we stood there for a long time, and then I think Verlaine drove in and got us and took us out. But there were sparks all over the road where it was the things were flipping back and forth, and scary.
Yeah, Clyde said the wires was jumping.
Yeah, they were.
And you've been flooded here a time or two?
Oh man, yes. We've got pictures of that.
When did that happen?
Peter tumbled down.
When did that happen, though?
Oh Lord, Kathy was probably Lynette maybe a junior, her a senior in high school, or 12th 10th, 11th grade. I don't know. They could tell you. And it was clear around our house. Did you break my chair?
I think Lynette would be about 10 years old.
Oh no, they were older than that.
Not much.
I think now you'll find out they were.
And you're in the newspaper?
Yeah, on the news.
On TV?
Uh-huh.
Imagine me being on TV.
What'd they ask you? What was the scenario? How did...
I don't know, they just...
They just took a quick shot and that was it.
There was water everywhere, all around our yard, everywhere. They had to have pumps come and do out our cellar. And
How long were you underwater?
Was that in 84 or was it before then? It was 2 or 3 times we went underwater.
Did it affect your crops? Were they any better because of the
No.
good soaking, or?
No. One time
it'd be early spring that it would happen.
we got 80 by 82 84. We got a lot of rain in August
Oh, it was August?
in here.
I don't know.
And,
Same year it flooded Salt Lake?
yeah.
Yeah. My dad down in where his garden was, they had a boat out on it. They could row the boat down on it. I mean, it was awful.
Her pasture land was underwater.
And Grandma, you got a story about some popcorn. And Alan.
He brought me home to graduate the next night from school, or in the next day or something. They were going to have this big graduation party, so he brought me all this popcorn, great big sacks to put it into, all this butter, all this stuff to put on it that the school had bought for him to do. So I popped all this corn. I got it all ready. It was when he had the Buick, He wanted to take it to his graduation.
The little saber.
In the LeSabre. And I said, you can take it if you will take all this popcorn down, because I don't know when you get it, and leave it in the kitchen so they can have it for the party tonight. So I carry it out and put it in the back of the car. And he says, okay, I'll do that. So he picks up, you-know-who, Renee, and off they go to the graduation. The next morning, I get up. He's out the back with Ned out there, and he had parked his, what was that car he had?
Cordova.
Monte Carlo.
No, it was that Shiv. It was that little Shiv we had.
Cordova.
Not when I backed into that, because I swung around there and crashed and took that whole side out of that.
That was the Valiant.
The Valiant. It was the Valiant. It was parked out there. And I go out to get in the car to go the next morning, and the popcorn's sitting in the back seat. They hadn't taken it in. I was so mad. I've never explained it when he was out there. I jumped in my car, and his car was parked out there by the thing. I whirled around and crashed right into that car. Took the whole door and everything out. And I just opened up the window and said, "Serves you right," and took off. I was so mad at your dad.
I remember one time in that Valiant, he was playing ball either down at the city building or at the church or something, him and his buddies, and he took me down with him. And I sat there probably on the stage while they played ball, and on the way back, him and his buddies, he got just down almost to the corner here on Maple and 8th West, ran out of gas.
He was always running out of gas.
Him and his buddies decided they're going to push that thing, and Brent's there. I'm probably 4, I don't know.
He had you got.
And he wanted me to drive. Well, there's no power steering with that thing, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing anyway, so I don't think it went very well, but we just ran out of gas, huh?
Oh my Lord, he ran out of gas. Well, I'll tell you, he ran out of gas. He worked at Safeways. He ran out of gas once, and he walked down along coming from Safeways. And he walked home, and he said, I'd left my car parked down there, and I said, Alan, you can't leave that car down there. There's no houses. I said, someone will come along and steal your tires off. They'll take the stereo off. Then everything will be gone. It's okay. It's okay. So the next day he goes to work. He calls me up. Mom. I said, what's the matter? He says, And it wasn't even paid for. And he said, "Oh, they've even taken the seats, and the stereo's gone, the tires are gone." And I just, said, "Oh," and I told him, no, Mom, it isn't, I've got it. Then he called Ned up one night, this is no lie, and said, "Dad, I'm in jail. The cops have got me, I'm here in jail." And Ned says, "Just tell them to keep you, I'm not coming to get you." And he says, "No, I'm not, I'm just kidding." Oh, he was the damnedest kid. Oh, baby.
So he's just getting a little payback with Cameron. Just a little bit of what he's got coming.
And Grandma, you got a special story with Dustin.
What?
Driving home from Price.
From where?
Price.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nothing.
How'd that go?
It was just nothing. I was coming with Dustin from Price, and it was late at night, and I was
How old was he?
so tired. Oh, I don't know, 5 or 6, something like that. And I was so silly. And I followed this truck all the way, and I didn't dare pass it all the way. And they were going like 40 miles an hour or something, and I was so tired. And I'd say, "Oh, Dustin, if we can just get home, if I can just get home." And then when we pulled up and we could see that big building there, where you turn off to come to Mapleton, and he said, "Oh, Grandma, we're home. Grandma, we're home." That's it.
You guys were driving home from Texas one time, trying to make it just a little bit further.
Oh, hell. We took off at 8 o'clock one night from your dad's at San Angelo. Got here at 2 the next morning. We drove. There wasn't a motel. We stopped at every town there was. Everything was closed, was filled up, and then drove all the way home. He said that it was all I could see in front of me was like a brick wall. And we drove.
It's usually a bad time to be on the road.
Oh. I don't know how he did it.
Grandma, you left Brent somewhere. What? What was that about?
Okay, he's this baby, just this little thing, and he was asleep on the back seat of the car, and there was gravel and dirt and stuff on the back of the floor. So we go down to get milk, and just me and him. We go down, and Alan, me and him and Alan. Alan was just a little kid, and we go down to get milk down to Tuttle's like we used to, the gallons. So on the way home, I said, "Oh, let's just go it was the night, the Memorial night. Let's stop in and just, look at the graves." So when I got there, my mom and dad were there. And they said, "Come on and walk around with us around, the flowers." And I said, "Okay." So we hop out, going all over the cemetery, looking and gone all this time. We come back and start to the car, and I said, "What's that funny noise I can hear? There's like in my car a squeak or something." "Oh my hell," I said, "it's Brett." He had fallen off, he had screamed and cried. It was hot as heck. He was wringing wet with sweat and tears. He had fallen off onto the floor, dirty and dirty and everything. Oh, I thought, Alan and I we bawled, both of us, all the way home. Just bawled. I brought him home, stuck him in the...
You put me in my car seat?
They didn't have car seats. I didn't have a car seat for you. And I bathed him and cuddled him all up, and I just sat and rocked him and held him, and it was awful. Awful.
Did you tell Lynette?
I said, "Alan, you never to tell his mother. Don't you ever speak a word to anybody." I don't know who ever told you. I didn't. Alan probably told later on, several years later when you were older.
How many dresses have you made? How many outfits have you made for your kids?
Oh my Lord. Everything they wore, their formals, everything.
So you didn't go shopping for clothes?
Very, very seldom. Once Kathy wanted we were parked on Main Street in Provo when they didn't have malls and there were shops there. And she saw this dress she wanted. It was $13. $13 for this dress. And she really wanted it so bad, so her Ned says, "You go buy that dress." It's the only bought dress I think she ever had. ever had in school. I made Kathy's wedding dress. I made everything. I made pants for them. I even made a coat for one of them out of an old coat. Everything they wore on their backs, I made.
Well, it goes right back to Peter Tumbledown.
Huh?
Goes right back to Peter Tumbledown.
Yeah. Mom had an old treadle sewing machine that you had to go like this to do down at her house. And she said, you might as well learn to sew. You might as well learn to write. Here, Mom, I'd take things down and have Mom, sew them. You might as well learn. You're not gonna be any younger to learn. So I learned on that old treadle.
Where is it? Whatever happened to that?
I give it to Kathy one day. She's got it down in her family room.
Kathy,
Downstairs.
our daughter?
Uh-huh.
Good.
Yeah. She took and refinished it and everything.
How many sleepovers did we have on that living room floor as grandkids?
Oh, yeah. Well, you all remember that. Doug remembers those. You remember them. I remember sitting there one night, in the middle of the night, because you were all settled down, and there were 9 of you laying on the floor.
Grandpa sitting up and watching the news, and then he'd watch MASH and Benny Hill.
Oh, Lynette gave me a Benny Hill video once. Yeah, lots of kids.
And didn't you have Doug here for Christmas one time?
Oh yeah, he had that Christmas hat on, and Kelly had her little stripe. They all had their little Christmas things.
Did he get what he wanted?
Oh. We were all sleeping on the couch, and it was about 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and here I heard these little feet come down the steps, and he walks in, and he's just, Lord, you're not very old, and he looks at all of our socks. Beth, Ned, Kathy, Al, Douglas, Kelly, and then he looks at the toys and he says, and you wanted a basketball, one of those little basketball hoops, and it was oversetting more by Kelly's things. And you looked and you says, too bad for Douglas. Santa Claus didn't bring him a basketball hoop. And I went running up those stairs and said, if your kid's up and down here, get down here. Too bad for Douglas. That's just the way he talked. Santa Claus didn't bring him a basketball hoop. So I just got up and loved him.
I remember being here the Christmas that Mom and Dad divorced. And me and Shan slept in the old kitchen on the floor. And we got up the next morning and I had that racetrack all in the middle of the front room.
I can't remember any of that.
And Alan got a set of golf clubs. And that was probably about the last year your dad was around. Because I took that racetrack down to his house and had it set up in the middle of the floor, and Tommy and everybody come over and talk, and I had that race car going all over the place, and your dad just chuckling and laughing at it. Look at that damn thing, and he'd just laugh.
He used to love the little kids. After Mom died, he just wanted to die. That's how they used to.
I remember Christmases down there.
Christmas
They
Eve.
give us the little chocolate marshmallow thing with probably $1 and a rubber band around it.
Mm-hmm. I used to fix those for him all the time. Yep.
When did you start going to the 4th of July Art City Days parade and sitting in the middle of the street there, down by the bank? Did you always sit there?
Always. Well, I'll tell you, Kenny was in the police force, and he said to us, why don't you sit there, come on. He says, I'm going to be on that corner. And he says, come and at a certain time, we close it off and you can sit right across there, you'll have front side seats. So that's when we started. So it was forever. Always went there, and then we'd walk over to the parade, over to the park, and spend the day. I got pictures of when we were there, and friend Taylor was just little, and he was riding on the pony. They had the pony there, and I got out in order, remember. I was just a kid at heart. I still am.
Grandpa, do you regret living your life completely here on the farm and not getting out and doing more things? Not seeing more, not experiencing more? Not at all?
He loved the work. He loved to farm. He loved the work. He said now he would work 20 hours a day if he could, just to be able to work. I don't want to work anymore.
Work is a pleasure.
I work too hard. I used to go to when I'd go to work when Mom got really bad. I never ever I would the minute I'd come home I'd change my clothes and go right down there, make sure they had their supper and that the house was cleaned and stuff. In fact, if I would miss a day, Ned would say, "How come you're not down there taking care of your mother?" And I'd say, "I just need one day just to sit here and not do anything." And Dad would say, Mom would be laying on the couch and she'd keep looking at the clock and he'd say, "She'll be here in a few minutes. It'll only be about 10 minutes and she'll be here." I don't regret one thing with my mother. When she died, when she was dying, we knew that she fell, hit her head on that sink and then never gained consciousness. And so I went down and slept to the side of her. They put a bed right to the side of her bed. And Dad went in my little bedroom and slept. And I stayed there till she died. And Dad never walked back into that bedroom. Wouldn't even walk into it.
And you talk about your dad drinking as a young man, like we listened to on the disc. And you tell me that he'd smoke inside the house.
He did, yeah. In my younger years, he sat there. As soon as he'd get through eating a meal, push his chair back and roll his own.
Was it just after dinner, or would he do it?
After lunch, usually.
I mean, just after meals is the only time he'd do it?
No, he'd probably smoke down in the fields as he was working and that. But this is when I remember him doing it. And he walked in one day. Well, he would. I could hear him in the bedroom. He'd get up and sit on the edge of the bed in the mornings and cough, 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 and he'd say, "The sons of bitches." That's the one word my dad used, was the sons of bitches. And so this one day he walked in, said the sons of bitches, threw in that Mom called the milk cupboard, never touched him again. But he always rolled his own, roll them like this and then go on this with them. Sometimes they sort of sagged a little bit. But.
And Grandpa, your dad wasn't always in the church. Did he ever have drinking or smoking?
Oh, he could drink just as much as anybody else, and he smoked.
My dad and Mom remember them being up to the dance in their younger years, and then they'd take their babies up and lay them up there on the seats and things, and bring the kids, and they'd do the dances, and that Wilford was so drunk he couldn't even hardly get out of the thing, out of the door.
Would he smoke or just drink?
Oh, he smoked.
Did he do it down at the house?
I presume he did, till he quit.
Did you ever see him smoking?
No.
I didn't think you did.
Did you see him drink?
This is when they first married.
How did they meet?
I don't know.
I know how my mom
bet
did.
he's a smart ass show off damn.
Were they both local?
Well, I don't know whether he lived up here in Reeds or whether he still lived in Spanish. I don't know.
Where did she live?
She lived over on North Mapleton,
Oh.
just at the edge of the hill where you drop into Springville and that. You know where Carnesicas live?
Mm-hmm. 16th North? 20th North?
Not there. That's she lived where Frank Carnesica lived.
Just off of Main.
Yeah, just west.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right at the edge of the hill. They used to pack water up the hill from Hobble Creek.
Hmm.
That was their one.
And your dad got through the 5th grade?
Yeah.
And how far did your mom go?
8.
Why did he quit?
He said he knew more than a teacher, so why waste his time going to school?
What did he do after he quit 5th grade? I mean, he's 10 years old.
He went in the mines, I guess. He
People just didn't go to school.
been around for 4 or 5 years, then went in the mines. I don't know. He was a smart ass, I'll tell you that.
Grandma, where'd your folks meet?
My dad lived on the corner and my mother lived right in the house next to him. They just had the fence between them. And so they sort of grew up together for a while. And then Mom and them moved up in the first ward. I know up by Allen's. Where Rena's is up there. But anyway, he took a girl to a dance with the girl and took Mom home.
He was learning Spanish, wasn't he?
Uh-huh.
Dance in Spanish, and then he ended up taking Mom home. Dad was a good-looking man when he was young. I've got some pictures of him up there. He had those blue eyes. And him and his brother, Norris, we lived on the corner, and and Norris lived in where Dad was born. And they moved, him and Aunt Elva moved in with Grandma and Grandpa and lived there with them and took care of them, and that was their home. And my dad, and they had this farm down there, and they farmed together. The two brothers farmed together, and when he died, just about killed my dad. So hard on him.
You guys have been through the Great Depression.
Oh yeah.
You're able to see the automobile come from going to Provo and getting 2 flats on the way and 2 flats on the way back.
Yeah.
To the
cranking them up
airplanes and
you have
TVs and movies and
if you
computers
even
and
thought
rockets.
you even thought of a TV, that was, and there was Buck Rogers. We'd go to shows and see Buck Rogers, and you'd say, "Oh my Lord, that would never happen." Now they're going to the moon and all this.
With all that knowledge and experience behind you, you got great-grandchildren wandering around. What advice would you give to them? What would be your one-piece tidbit of information?
Keep your damn feet on the ground.
Just be happy. Love your family. Take care of your family. And give your little wives everything they want. And give Nathan everything he wants. Those dimples. I used to give you and Doug everything you guys wanted. Didn't I?
No, you bought a washing machine and kept him home.
Yeah. I didn't get any more bugles.
Oh, I should have bought some and had them here for you. If I had thought. That's what they always wanted. And an orange drink. I was so glad when I didn't have to go to that laundromat. I was so glad. Well,
All right.
have you learned a lot?